The Two Knives. Book 1. The Two Knives. Written by Silver. Read by Shorty. Prologue. The dark alley was lit only by a dim, six-sided street lamp set in the middle of the old town square, which had once been the main residence of the town, but was now reduced to ruins and only a very brief residence of the most daring people of the scattered town, which had long since become dark from the smoke of the enemy's fort not far away. Or so they thought. Only a few knew what the darkness was really from. It was that the town was going bad. In this world, Mordecai, things like that happened. What happened was that the enemy had been growing and living on this town, and most of the people of the once bustling town had fallen under the Queen's rule, and the very few left in the town suffered daily from lack of food, drink, and sleep, the last because the ghosts of their friends had come back to life and were haunting them. Two dark figures emerged from the complete darkness on either side of the square and met under the dim, flickering light. Is it safe? Yes, it's right here. Drawing out a glowing knife from the folds of her cloak, the subject of the inquiry revealed the most wicked and magical weapon of all time. Put it back! The muffled yell sounded loud in the silence. And keep it there. We don't know if anyone is watching. Chapter 1. Tea for One and All. This story takes place about 90 years after Mary Drea met her friend Lucy Andre in the deserted town of Mordecai on secret business. It is a story of many characters, a story of bravery, of romance, and a story of many unexpected turns, but overall, it is a story of magic. Wizards, witches, sorcerers, and an alien that will take over the entire planet. I will take you back to the present, to a small town named Mordecai, which lies near the ocean. A dark-haired girl sits in her window seat, staring glumly out of a rain-streaked window, at a soggy garden and an empty street filled with puddles. All of the shop windows across the street were empty, cheerless, and dark. No one had been in the shops since the heavy rain had started several days ago. Normally, Rebecca was cheerful, no matter the circumstance, but she had invited everyone from her town, as well as a few people from other towns, to a tea party which she had spent weeks planning and getting ready for. She did not want anything to go wrong, but it looked like the whole thing was going to be cancelled unless the rain let up in a few hours. The party started the next day, but the ground needed time to dry out. The next day was bright and clear without a cloud in sight. The ground was still wet, but that could not be helped. All that mattered was that the party was still going to happen, so Rebecca's hopes had not been in vain. She had especially invited her friends Reuben and Alex with their pets and helpers, Star and Lightwing. Reuben had already come with Star, his horse, because he lived closer than Alex, who lived in Mordecai, and he had to cross water to be there on time. Rebecca, who was trying to keep track of a cookie, 2 sandwiches, and her cup of tea, was talking to Reuben as the party started to pick up. "Did you know Mary Drea?" asked Reuben. "I think so. Wasn't she our great-great-great-grandmother?" "She was her friend, but how did you get so close?" "My grandma told me that her great-grandma had told her that her grandma told her that her grandma's daughter had been good friends with her, or something." "You're right, but there is something else of seemingly more importance concerning her. That I was wondering if you knew about." "What's that?" asked Rebecca, expectant of a good story. "Do you know about a magical knife?" "Which one?" "What do you mean, which one?" "The good or bad?" "I hadn't heard about the good one." "So it's the bad one?" "Yeah, well, maybe. Do you have any old scripts?" "Do you mean the ones written by Tiltgar?" "Yes. Do you have any?" "No, I don't." "Neither does anyone else in this town, or even the library in Mordecai. And I know for sure that there are none in Mordecai," added Reuben, depressed. "If we could get our hands on some, or even just one, I have a feeling that we could discover some of the ancient history." So we'll have to go to Mortico Drift, Rebecca, now excited at the prospect of learning about what had happened before the GHT, was more inclined to travel than was Reuben. Yes, but that means passing Dowright. Yeah, if we are going. A few days later, Alex had still not shown up. He usually got places on time or even early, and this worried Rebecca. He was one of her closest friends, and he was apparently lost. I don't think we're going to Mortico Drift yet on account of Alex, stated Reuben. No, not yet, Rebecca replied. But if we were planning to go on Mortico Drift, then we could look for Alex on the way. He's probably on the inlet. Do you know when we'll go looking for him? As soon as we can. I'll start packing the food. Good, I'll get weapons and bags. Not a bit surprised at her quick response, he set off down the street in search of a blacksmith's shop. Rebecca packed a canteen of Rosefire, a fiery, liquor-like drink, which had the virtue of smelling salts, Nars, a type of biscuit with a filling the color of caramel, tea leaves, 2 canteens of water, and a pouch of Ellard, which when steamed cured any sickness on Morcodore. By the time she had finished, Reuben was talking to the blacksmith. Where are your swords? Well now, you'll just have to come over here, laddie. The owner's thick accent reminded Reuben of his uncle, who had grown up in Kirikodore. Were these 2 made by you? They look different than the others. Reuben pointed at a pair of stunningly crafted weapons. Oh no, the blacksmith grinned. Those were made by my dad, they were. Magic? Reuben was only joking, but he was not prepared for the answer. Oh yes, powerful magic. Won't break for nothing. He added in a considerably lower tone. Not even to cross blades with a knife. His accent was suddenly gone. I'll buy this one, he said, gesturing to a unique serrated-edged sword. Oh, that'll be the old 8-point going at last, he sighed. The swords had 4 points on each side of the blade, and a green gem placed near the top of the blade, with curved ridges to the points, and 1 ridge down the middle to meet up with the tip of the sword. The handle was green, with brown vine pattern wrapped around it. The hilts were black and appeared to be in 2 pieces. It had a shiny yellow pommel with a black setting. Here's a sheath for it. Fry's not as fancy as the sword, though. Thanks. Do you sell any arrows? Sure do, laddie, right over here. He had begun speaking with his accent once again. Reuben bought 40 arrows, a quiver, a yew staff with notches in the ends, and a pouch which held bowstring. He came back to Rebecca's house, happy that he had found what he wanted, and eager to set off after his friend. Rebecca had the packs laid out under her langlor tree when he returned. Like the sword. Does Smithy make it? No, his dad did. And he said it's magic, he added with a smirk. Good pick if it is. How much did he charge you for it? 40 oaks. You can make them out of oak? Yeah. Oaks were balls of core oak used for money on Morcodore. Your pack has 23 nars, the Rosefire, a canteen of water, and the tea leaves, said Rebecca. Here's your bow and arrows. I want to see if you can string the bow, or if you'll need help. I don't need any help, thank you. Although Rebecca, at first glance, took on the appearance of an average female, she proved herself robustly strong. She strung the bow without the slightest hint of strain or hesitation. Are you ready to set off now? Reuben asked. Almost. I need to get my short sword. While she was inside, her neighbor came over and handed Reuben a flint, saying, I heard that you're going off to find your friend, and you can't go without fire. When Rebecca had returned, they walked off down the street, meeting several people on their way and gathering many other things of importance that they had overlooked. Cloth for a tent, rope, a lantern, which they had come for after dark anyway, but was a real time saver, and free from the blacksmith, a shield for Reuben.